This isn't for gangbanging purposes. It's because if you know me, I sweat a lot. You know what I mean? So gotta have it ready. Gotta have it ready. First of all, I want to thank my higher power for allowing me to be here today. Like it's really like a miracle. I see it as a miracle. That I'm able to be here and share my experience, strength, and hope with you guys. Um, well, I'll start off from the beginning a little bit. I grew up, in a gang infested area. Like for me, a lot of people like they started off late. A lot of people started off when they were young. For me, I was one of those that started off young. You know what I mean? My dad, he's an addict to this day. All my family, my aunts, uncles, they're like raging alcoholics. They were known for throwing block parties back in the days. To this day, they still drink, but they're able to go back to work the next day. But that's not for me. That's not my story. Um, you know, as a kid, like seeing that, I feel like I didn't really have any problems as a kid. Like just growing up and seeing like my uncles like banged out, tatted up, doing time and drinking, partying, having fun. Like I like that. Like I always idolize that. Like for me, like I've always wanted to be like that. I wanted to go to jail and be like, yeah, I've been there, get tattoos and like I've done that. I've always thought that was like the coolest thing ever. As a kid, I'd be like, fuck school, I'd rather go to jail. People used to laugh at me like, what's wrong with this kid? Like, just get your kid. But that's how I grew up. Like I always thought it was cool, like growing up with all these irresponsible ass fucking parents and uncles drinking, leaving the kids unattended. Like for me, I used to love it because me and my little cousins and stuff, we were badass little kids. So when everybody is all drunk, fighting or doing whatever, me and my cousins would go get the beers. I'd always get the bottles. I don't know why. For some reason, I'd always get bottles. Like, I didn't want no small can or whatever. I'd get the bottles and we'd just be cracking them open in the chicken coop, drinking, getting cigarette butts off the floor, smoking them. You know what I mean? And like that, to me, that was normal. Growing up, I never really thought that like I didn't know alcoholism and being an addict was a thing. It didn't exist to me till recently, that I realized like I really had a problem. You know, but yeah, as I was growing up, like I said, I always idolized that, the nice cars, the nice clothes. You know what I mean? I've always wanted to, like be somebody my family could be like, oh yeah, like. But little did I know that that's not the life they wanted for me. But me, I still pursued that, like, cause seeing my dad, like I've always wanted to be like him. I've always wanted him to be proud of me. Like I've always wanted to be that badass little kid. You know what I mean? Like, so, I rebelled, like I was just getting into trouble, getting into fights, like just doing these dumb little things, what I mean? And my dad, he wouldn't trip if I get into fights at school. It's like, as long as you didn't get fucked up, then you're good. You know what I mean? But yeah, as I got older, like it just kept going, like just the drugs and the alcohol. Like to me, every day was a party. Every day was Friday for me. Like what day is it? I don't know. It's Friday. So I was always drinking, smoking, like, and that was my life. Like it's crazy, like just looking back at it now, like because the life I'm living right now compared to then, it's like, damn, like people trip out on me, like when they see like what I'm doing now. Like, for me, like I like the simple life. I work, come home, and that's it. You know what I mean? That's all the excitement, I'm looking forward to. The only day I look forward to now is Wednesdays because that's when I get paid. So it's like that's all I care about, and it's not like I go and I try to spend all my money, you know what I mean? But it feels good, like it feels good knowing like I don't have to need for anything. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about like, damn, where am I gonna stay? What am I gonna eat? Like stuff like that, like that's truly a blessing, like, and I try to manage my money as best as I can. But like, yeah, growing up, man, it was just hectic. Like I kind of like, it's like for me, like I would always see people drinking and they're always having a good time, and like that's always the like what I wanted my life to be centered around, just having a good time. Like, so everybody had those old cliches like, oh, I might not make it till I'm 20 or 18, like, and I always live my life based on that. So like I was just doing the most. 18 came, like, damn, I'm still alive. 19 came, I'm still alive. Like homies dying and like I'm just doing like the reckless things, you know what I mean? Like I got to the point where like I wouldn't care if I put myself in bad situations, like walking in the enemy's neighborhood, no strap, you know what I mean? Like banged out, like not carrying, wearing size 46s, you know what I mean? Like sucked up. Like imagine me, so like these are 40s and they look big, you know? Imagine me, a buck 40, wearing 46s, like damn, I could fold them fuckers twice, you know? But but yeah, I was just out of control, like stupid out of control, and I can't blame nobody but myself, Like for a long time, like I used to blame God. I used to blame God, my father. But at the end of the day, like that's who I wanted to be. So why could I blame him? Why blame him? Like he knows. I feel like to this day, I feel like he kind of holds that. He feels like it's his fault the way I turned out, But I always try to tell him that, it was my decision, like I wanted to live this life, and I don't regret nothing, because then I wouldn't be right here speaking to you guys right now, you know. Um, I'm not really good at speaking, and I wish I had a message for you, but I hope my story, kind of gets to you guys. You know what I mean? Because, like I could kind of relate to when Brian said, living in a van. You know what I mean? Like, because growing up, like that's the life I was living too. Like when not everything was always good and parties and stuff. Like shit would happen. My dad was an addict since he was a kid. So like we had times where we're living in vans, where like I have well, in total we're seven, seven of us in an old school Chevy van, like that's the life I grew up, like it was always like, partying at my family's and then going back to the, being homeless and shit, living off of frozen pizzas and hot pockets, cereal, you know what I mean? So like, I've always wanted more, I've always wanted more too, I feel like like I was just wanted to have things, going to school, seeing all these kids and, having their things, and I never had shit, so that also made me go into the whole criminal life activity, like stealing, robbing, doing things like that, and now that I think about it, it's kind of messed up, like because I work hard now, and I could just imagine if somebody came and robbed me or stole my car, or if I had a car, you know what I mean? I don't have one yet. You know what I mean? Like that shit, it's like damn, Even when I did have like I've had cars before, even when I did have them, I used to like take off sensors and ain't nobody stealing my shit, you know what I mean? Like but like it's pretty fucked up, like now that I work, like I probably like I feel what those people are going through. Like God only knows all the things I've ever came up on and stole and all those lives I fucked up, somehow. Um, but yeah, like that shit wasn't cool of me, And one day I just got that gift of desperation. You know what I mean? Like I've been in prison, in and out. To me that was my rehab. I'd rather take time over a treatment center. Because I didn't know what this was about. I've always like, man, fuck treatment. I'm going to jail, see the homies. Like so, I'll go to jail. There wasn't a day I wasn't high in there. I was always high, making pruno. Things like that. Like that. I used to think that shit was cool. But like, man, when I came into treatment, it was well how it started. Um, my family we got kicked out of my mom's house where she used to live. She moved back to Mexico, and you know, between me and my siblings, we're all kind of like pitching in, but eventually, like, nobody kept pitching in, and we got evicted. After that, my family split up. I was out in the streets, I was like, I got this, so fresh out of prison, like, so I was doing good, like slanging, doing that little stuff, and like eventually I just kept getting caught, like, and I didn't give a fuck. I come out and do the same thing, like, it was like a never ending cycle, like just the life I was living. It felt like I was stuck in limbo, like being stuck like in the middle, like not knowing what to do. Like that shit is like that's an ugly feeling, like having to thug it out, and one day, like, I remember it was like January, I think it was like January 4th or January 3rd and 4th of last year, and I was walking in the rain, like not knowing what to do, like I got kicked out of my homie's girlfriend's garage because I was there for days, just smoking and drinking. And then like they came and told me like, hey, like where are you gonna go? I was like, oh, like I'm gonna kick it. They're like, nah, I'm getting kicked out. We both gotta go. And I'm just like, fuck. So like I had to keep pushing. I had to leave, like and it was kind of fucked up. And I remember seeing the moon, like, and there was like, I remember I heard in treatment like talking to the moon. I can't remember what it was, but it was a daily reading or some shit like that. But like that, like I was literally like kind of like, damn, like looking up at the moon, like, fuck, is this really what my life has came to? Like, I had my fair share of having money, having cars, like, balling, like thinking I was a shit, and then like I didn't have nothing after that, like, and that was like a really fucked up feeling because I got a taste of knowing what it's like to have, because growing up I never really had much. So like when I got that taste of having, like, and then I lost it, it's kind of like damn, like, like where the fuck did I go wrong, but it was the things I was doing, that was putting me in those situations, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I came into treatment, like that was probably the best thing I could have done, like that is really like an accomplishment for me, besides my 1 year, you know what I mean? And I remember my brother-in-law kept trying to get me to go into treatment. He's like, go into treatment. And I was like, nah, I got it. And one day I gave in. I was just like, you know what? Fuck it, I'll go to treatment. Like I was thinking to myself, like, man, everybody's probably in there getting high and doing their thing, I'm gonna just go and kick it, what I mean? Yeah, just go and kick it, you know what I mean? And I remember my brother called. Actually, I think it was Sunshine I talked to, and somebody I talked to, and they're like, come tomorrow at this time, and like that night I was kicking it. One of my homies were coming up, like, and I kept telling them I'm gonna go to treatment, and they're looking at me like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, yeah, I'm going to a program tomorrow. Like, damn, it's my last day out, and they're just kind of like, all right, whatever, fool, like, kind of like whatever. Kept pushing it, like, like they didn't believe me. So like that whole day, we're like doing some dumb shit. My addiction took me so low. I was stealing tailgates from trucks. You know what I mean? Like tailgates and pallets, and you know what I mean. Like I was like, yeah, I got cash now. You know what I mean? Like that shit was paid. Like that shit's stupid. I think about it. Like I just laugh about it. It's embarrassing. Like I'm all sweaty more now. Like that's embarrassing. Stealing pallets and shit. Like tailgates, like people coming out seeing me take off, like, oh shit, and I gotta run. Like what the fuck? They're like, hey, I'm just like, fuck you, like, but like, like I could laugh at that now, like because I think that's funny, it's funny, but it's embarrassing, like knowing that, like where the levels my addiction took me to, like, man, it was bad. So like I remember, like I was coming up and I kept saying like, yeah, I'm going to treatment. And like I don't know what it was. Like I came up pretty sick, low key. And I remember like getting this little truck, right? And like I passed out in it. I was just smoking, smoking and smoking dope. I mean, and I passed out. I don't know what it was. I fell asleep because I was up for weeks. And then like I remember passing out in this car, and then I had my ex with me, and I woke up to her like this, and it was a pipe, right? So I'm just like, what the fuck? Like I grabbed it and I'm like, what time is it? And she's like, it's 8:59, and I'm like, oh fuck! Like my brother-in-law was supposed to pick me up at 9 at my homie's pad, to take me into treatment. And like I'm just like, damn, like get out, take everything with you, Like she got out, I took off, and I remember, like going in that garage and having my brother-in-law and my homie take out my stuff so I could slam one more shot. You know what I mean? Just so I could get one more in before I go, and I felt like shit. I felt disgusting, like, but I was willing to just surrender, I guess you can say, like that was the first time ever that I probably made a good decision in my life. You know what I mean? Like just, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like instead of saying fuck it's for all these bad things I was doing, I did it for a good cause, And I went into treatment, and it's funny how Brian was saying, Nancy's hugs. Like, man, I was sweating all night. I smelled like wet dog, like, and I remember I was walking and she came up to me and she told me, she hugged me. She's like, like you're important, like you're loved, you know what I mean? I can't really remember everything she said, but like she made me feel like I was just kind of like, what the heck? Like, why is this weird lady hugging me, you know? But like, I was like, you know, but it felt good, you know what I mean? It felt like, it felt so good, you know, like, even like, you know, like the condition I was in, you know, like I was filthy, like, you know, not like physically, like, you know, like filthy, like on the inside, you know, like, and, you know, for someone to, you know, like, just hug me, you know, tell me I'm important and I matter. Like that meant so much to me. You know, like it meant so much to me because I was going through it so bad, you know, from like my best friend getting murdered, you know, like from all types of crazy things, you know, like I got to the point I didn't give a fuck. I didn't have the I couldn't kill myself, but I put myself through situations where that could be the outcome. You know, not caring, you know, like not caring, you know, like cursing God's name, like, man, like, fuck you, you're never there for me, you know. But in the end of the day, like, I still made it through all that stupid shit I was doing. You know what I mean? Walking late as fuck in the enemy's hoods, and you know what I mean? And nothing happening to me, like, being in so many pursuits and doing all these crazy things, and like, I'm still fucking here. You know, like, I'm still here, you know, and this white lady gave me a hug and said I mattered. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like, I don't know, you know, after that, I was just kind of like, what the fuck? Like, you know, like, but, you know, like my disease is just bad, you know, like, even though I was brought into a place where people loved me and accepted me, you know what I mean? And, you know, treat me with love, you know what I mean? Like, it felt like I still fucked it up, you know? Like, my, like, I think I want to say like my first month in treatment, I relapsed. You know what I mean? Like some guy brought something in and I relapsed. You know what I mean? Like, and it's crazy because I remember saying like, "Nah, I'm good," and then later on the day, like, "Hey, you still got some?" You know what I mean? Like, that's where my addiction took me. Like, I couldn't just like be like, "Nah," you know, like that shit was kind of eating at me, you know, and they got caught and I got caught, you know. But and I was so close to getting kicked out, like really close, you know. And I remember Scott was my counselor too, you know. I remember him telling me like, "Hey, like, did you get high with them?" I was like, "No." I was like, "I found it in my pocket and I did it," you know. They're like, "Look, my boss ain't stupid. She knows that's bullshit story, you know. Like she ain't gonna fall for that. Just tell the truth." And I'm like, "That's the truth." And he's like, "You know what? I'm gonna tell you like this. They told on you. So just why are you backing them up?" I was like, "All right, fuck it." I was like, "Yeah, I got high with him, you know?" But like, and he was like, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna send you to another program. Don't worry about it. And like at that point, like it kind of like something came to me, you know? Like I was just kind of like, you know what? Like, thank you, but no thank you. You know what I mean? Like, this is the first program I was willing to give a chance to. You know, like I was willing. I came in. I did intake. I did everything. I've been here like for a little bit. It's the first time I ever done that in my life. You know, and like I gave this program a chance. So if you guys are gonna kick me out, like thank you, but no thank you. And he's like, so you're gonna go back and get high and do all these things you were doing? I was like, no. I was like, I don't want to do that, but I'll try to take whatever I learned from here and apply it to my life. You know, and they gave me another chance. He's like, I'm gonna talk to my boss, see what I can do. You know, and I remember Sherry came to my room the next day. She's like, you are so lucky. And I was kind of like, what the fuck? Like, she's like, you were so close to getting kicked out, but he went out on the ballpark for you, and they gave you another chance, you know? And I was just kind of like, what the fuck? Like, a white man giving me a chance, like, you know? So I was just like, you know, like, he doesn't know me. Like, this guy does not know me. I was only in his group for a little bit. I was quiet. I was barely talking, you know, like, and for him to, like, kind of, like, speak on me, like, nah, like, let's give him a chance, you know? I felt like I was never given a chance, you know what I mean? Like as a kid, I was always that kid nobody wanted their kids with, you know, like stay away from that kid, you know what I mean? I was always bald, you know, like since I was an infant, like my family name was Pelon, you know? So like I was that little badass kid named Pelon, you know what I mean? Still am, you know what I mean? Like so like I was that kid, you know, like I was that kid with silver teeth and everything. No, I'm just kidding. But like, you know, I was a badass kid, you know? So like it felt good, you know, somebody not knowing who I was to like just, you know, like fight for me in a way, you know, like that felt good, you know. And ever since then, like, you know, I stayed strong. You know, I try to I poured my heart and soul into them writings, you know. I cried like probably once or twice, you know. And you know, it was kind of like it was crazy how just those little letters, like they'll really like kind of help you through some things, you know. Like 'cause instead of holding all that hate and pain and sadness, all that, holding all that in, you know, it's like, you know, you're gonna be ready to blow up, you know. And I had so much rage, like it was only a matter of time, you know. Like I was already doing dumbass stuff, you know. Like just imagine if I blow, you know. And like that really helped me decompress, you know, like really helped me keep my sanity, you know. Like, and you know, I'm grateful, you know. My second month there, I go to court. Abel took me to court, and I got arrested. You know, like I was like, what? And then at that point, I felt like my life was over. Like usually, I didn't give a fuck. I was like, yeah, I'm going to jail. Like, oh well, program time. You know, I'm doing burpees in the holding cell. You know what I mean? Like getting ready to program. And this time, I felt it, man. I felt it so bad. Like I remember me and Abel were waiting in court, and I was like, "Hey, let's go smoke a cigarette." He's like, "Nah, fucker." He's like, "We're gonna wait here. He's like, "You're good. We're gonna wait here. We're gonna go into court, and then we're gonna go out and smoke a cigarette." I was like, "All right, cool, cool." So we go into court. Right when we go into court, one of the cops came from behind the thing, right? And he just came behind me, and he's like, I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna cuff you," you know. And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, if they post your bail, if they say you have a bail, then you're getting arrested. If they don't, you're good. We're gonna let you go." So I'm just like, fuck it, you know. Abel was tripping, like, you know, like what the fuck, like why you guys get handcuffing him? So I was like, it's cool. So I get handcuffed. I'm right there. It's like, all right, they're saying my name, what I was there for, and then they're like, we're gonna post his bail for $55,000. I was like, oh man, my heart sank so bad. Like, I swear, like that was the first time ever I didn't want to get busted. You know, like that. It really hurt. Like that shit. Like I swear to God, it's like all my life, like, you know, like I was expecting that chair to kick, that chair to fall from under me, get pulled from under me. You know, and like, you know, I always just say it's the story of my life, you know. And it felt like it was the same thing over again, you know. Like I'm putting like my heart and soul into like myself, and wanting to like change myself to be a better person, and then like this fucking happens, right? And I was like so mad and hurt. Like I was like, damn, that's the worst month of my life, you know. Worst month of my life. That shit really hurt, you know. Like, but, and I was gonna get ready to just throw it all away, you know. Like, you know, like everywhere I went in the county, I knew somebody and they had drugs. Hey, what's up, fool? You want, you know? And I'm just like, nah, I'm good. I'm good, you know? So I kept pushing it off. I kept pushing it off. And when it came to my court date, I remember my court date was pushed far. And I remember, dude, the program did so much for me. Like, they were calling the courts and doing all this, like, for me, you know, like what the fuck, like, you know, like for me, you know what I mean, like. And they moved my court date, and they said, no, you're not going back to the program. We don't care if you're there, you know, like. So I went back, and then I talked to my sister. I'm like, man, fuck this. Like, I just want to slam so bad. Like, fuck this. Like, you know, I'm ready to give up, you know. And my sister's like, don't, like, it's a test, you know. Like, you've been doing so good, you know, like, don't trip. Like, they'll get you out, you know, like. Jose's talking to the people at Fred Brown, you know, they're trying to get you out, you know. And you know, like, shout out to Abel, man, because he was there almost every court date. I went to 3 court dates. He was there all the time, you know? Like, and he was there to pick me up. You know what I mean? And he was there to pick me up. He took me to jail. He better pick me up, you know? So, like, shit, like, you know what I mean? He better pick me up. Like, what the fuck? You know? But it was, dude, like, the love. And then I had a cigarette. This is the best cigarette ever, you know? Like, you know what I mean? Like a Camel, like fuck yeah, you know what I mean? Like it was cool, like, you know, like it was like so cool, man. Like, you know, like that's the first time like I was in jail and I wasn't all in the mix, you know? Like I was like, man, I was just in the cut. You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of people, and you know, usually I'm the type like I'm gonna snatch up this pad, you know, I'm gonna call my big homie and do this and this. This time I was just like, just kick my feet back, did my burpees, made sure I was up, So I just did my thing. I was in the cut, like, and I was going through it so bad, like so bad. That was the longest month of my life, like longest month of my life. I was doing so good, and then like I felt like I was being punished, But like my sister said, I know it was a test, because I came back, and I came back stronger. You know what I mean? Like it felt good, just kind of like coming back into treatment, and like people like asking me like, hey, like how was it? And I was like, I was good, like dude, you don't even know how fucking many people offer me drugs, like, you know what I mean? It's like not even a joke. Whoever's been busted, you know how hard it is to get drugs in there. You guys know how hard it is, man. Bro, everywhere I went, like, hey, what's up, fool? I'm just like, I'm good, dog. I swear, like that's just not even funny, bro. Like I've never been offered so much drugs in my life, and it's in county. It's expensive as shit, but bro, and they're throwing it at me. I'm just like, nah, I'm good. Give it to the homie, I don't fuck around no more. They're like, you're here a few months ago. I was like, I don't fuck around no more. I stay strong, I stay strong, like for my family, for myself, like, and for the people that believed in me and gave me that chance, like, because like Fred Brown, they really gave me a chance, and I took it and ran with it. You know what I mean? I really took it and ran with it. I took so much suggestions. In my spare time, I'd go and I'd talk to Nancy, or like to any of the staff, and like they would always give me so many good suggestions, like, and I feel like they're also part of the reason why I'm still here. Like I want to be able to make them proud and be like, hey, you know what, like he really did it. You know what I mean? Like, and I want to be able to be there for my family, and today I am. You know what I mean? It's like it feels there ain't no better feeling, man. Fuck that cigarette when I got out. Like ain't no better feeling than being able to be there for my people. Like if my sister needs money for diapers, I'll send her money. I gotta pay rent. I here. Like I'm not balling out of control. Like but. It's like it just feels good knowing like they could rely on me and I could be dependable. I could be trusted today. Even before I could have been trusted, but it's like I was just doing dumb shit. People didn't trust me. Like, I don't steal from my people. I never done none of that. But I did do a lot of bad things. But like it just feels good. Knowing that I could be there for my family and them seeing the change. Like what I mean. Like I try to stay away from everything, people, places, and things. That's my biggest thing right there. Like it's kind of sucks to say, but I can't be around my dad too much. I can't kick it with him by myself. Like because he's in his addiction. And for me that's a trigger. Because me and my dad, we're from the same neighborhood. We used to get high together. We used to drink together. We even fought people together. You know what I mean? So like to me, like that's a trigger. Like my dad's birthday was in Christmas. And my girl, she took me over there to see him, and I was able to buy him breakfast and buy him clothes and do all this, She wanted to leave me with him. I was like, no, don't leave me with him, I don't trust myself that much yet, But yeah, I try to stay away from, the places I used to go run amok in and all things like that. I don't talk to nobody I used to talk to. If they're bad for me, I'm not gonna, give it the time of day. Maybe if they hit me up like, hey, how are you? Oh, I'm good. Yourself, that's about it. I don't kick it with nobody. I've had people tell me like, hey, since you're out of the program, you could drink now, right? And before I used to be like, when they'd ask me like, hey, you gonna drink when you get out? I was like, or they're like, hey, you wanna drink when I go on my overnight visits? I'd be like, nah, I can't. And somebody told me like, don't say you can't. That's like you holding what's the word? You holding reservations, and like that really kind of like stuck to me, because I was just like, damn, like that's kind of true, Like now people ask me, I'm just like, oh, I don't do that no more, I don't. I mean, like I'm very happy, with the life I'm living, even though it's like the most simplest thing ever. Like that's all I ever wanted, like that's all I ever needed. Like I felt like all that, like my younger years, like partying, doing all this crazy stuff. I was doing things people in their early 20s, 30s, I was doing when I was 12, like, so it's like all that it's not even appealing to me anymore, like I'd rather just go home, enjoy my anime. I like anime now, watch my anime, you know what I mean? Japanese cartoons, like that's my shit now, you know? That's like my new addiction, you know, and it's bad, you know? Like, you know, like that's all I do, you know what I mean? Watch TV, kick it with my girl, you know, like, and I couldn't ask for a better girl, you know, like she keeps me on my toes. You know what I mean? And you know, I never been in the type of relationship where we could talk, you know, like, you know, we could actually talk, you know, like, and she could tell me her problems, and you know, like we could kind of be in our moods, and she's just like, I'm sorry, you know, like, but it's hard for me to kind of like let somebody help me. Sorry to put you out on blast, but you know, she's like, it's kind of hard for me to let somebody help me, you know, because of what I've been through, and it's crazy because none of my relationships were like that, you know, like there was always toxic as shit, like, you know what I mean, like, yeah, it was just hella toxic, like. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, what's wrong? Nothing. You know, like, what the fuck? She walking off, like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't even do nothing. Like, you know what I mean? And now, like, you know, even though, like, we have our moments, like, we can't be mad at each other. We'll end up just, you know, hugging it out, stuff like that. You know what I mean? We could talk, you know. I could tell her cochinos now. I could tell her how I feel, you know? Hey, don't judge me, you know. I have feelings now, you know. I have feelings now, you know. Somebody once said, like, I got my feelings back, but the bad thing is I got my feelings back. You know what I mean? And it's true as hell, you know. Like, sometimes I'm like, damn, I might be like bitch something, you know, like, cause my feelings, like, I'm just kind of like, damn, like, what the fuck is this that I'm feeling, you know? Like, it's so new to me, it's foreign, you know, but like, it's like something like, you know, I'm getting used to, you know, instead of just being in my moods and being isolated and leaving and doing all my desmadre, like I could just, you know, talk to her about it. Or if I'm having a bad day, I could go and talk to her about it instead of holding all that in me, you know, like holding it all in me until I explode. You know, like, and she could do the same with me. You know, I'll sit there and listen. You know, I don't gotta say nothing. She'll just talk, and she'll be like, "Thank you for letting me vent," and I'm just like, "You're welcome." You know, I didn't say one word, and she just said, "Thank you." You know what I mean? Like, I get to do that today. You know, like it's just the little things. You know, like my life ain't all extravagant and shit. You know, like, you know, but it's like it's all I ever wanted. You know, like this program gave me a lot. You know, and just, you know, I suggest, you know, you guys take suggestions, you know, like listen to the predecessors, listen to the people in the treatments there, you know, they've all been through it. You know, like I look up to a lot of people like that, you know, like I still hoping for my dad to come one day, come into treatment, like, you know, I need help, you know, like, cause my dad's my best friend, you know, like, and it's fucked up seeing him out there, but what can I do? There's only so much I can do. You know what I mean? There's only so much I can do. All I can do is pray for him, and you know, hopefully, you know, God guides him in the right direction. You know, because everything else, like I learned that, you know, I can't do things on my own, because I know where that took me. You know, so I kind of just Jesus take the wheel. You know, like I don't go by self will. I go by His will. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, that's what I try to do every day. Every day I pray, you know, I just ask him for guidance. I used to ask him for patience, but God is funny, you know. You ask him for patience, he's gonna put a gang, you know, things in your path to get you patient. That things that are gonna get under your skin, like, oh, like, you know. But that's his little test to make you patient, you know. I learned my mistake, you know, but you know, I just ask for guidance all the time, just guidance, you know, and you know, for him to let his will work within me. How many times I got left? I'm done? Huh? Oh, really? I was kidding. You know, like, but but yeah, you know, it's you know, like this place right here is, besides Point Furman, this is one of the places where I used to always hear the message, you know. I just wish I had a better message, you know, but all I could do is share my life, you know, share where I'm at right now, you know, like, because you know, like the cliches, people do recover, you know, like, and I can't sit here and lie to you and say like, yeah, I'm in my steps, because I be slacking, I ain't perfect, you know. I hardly talk to my sponsor, you know, and that's my fault, you know, but I know I got to make a conscious effort to do that, you know, because he's the one that's going to be guiding me through life and certain things that, you know, I'm going to need help with, you know, like, because in life things happen, you know, but yeah, thank you guys for letting me be here and share my life.